have been self-employed since 2021. And I also come from a family of entrepreneurs, and I have quite a few friends that are entrepreneurs as well. I can tell you from this, one of the biggest problems that I have seen in the conversations that I've had with people about hiring staff, especially as a small business owner, is that hiring the wrong staff is super, super, super costly to the business, costly to the individual. It wastes time, it wastes money. So I want you to avoid these 10 mistakes that people make when it comes to hiring an employee. Hi, if you don't know me, I am Barika from Simply Unique Coaching. I have been leading since 1997. I like to say that I am the leader who learned in the trenches. And in today's video, we're going to talk about 10 of the things you want to avoid doing or you want to take into consideration when it comes to hiring an employee. And the last thing I'm going to mention in this list is going to be one of the most important things that we have to do as leaders to ensure that we get the team that we need to have in place. And I'm going to tell you one of the best things you can do is hire right the first time, because it's going to keep you from having a big headache in the long run. So let's talk about it. Number 10 on the list is not having a plan in place for proper employee reward and recognition. Now, let's say you get these amazing employees on your team. You want to be able to keep them, and it's going to be important that you have a plan in place to acknowledge them when they are doing well. Everyone likes to get a pat on the back or to hear that they're doing well. And I have other videos that talk about how to motivate people. Number 9, not offering flexible work arrangements when it is possible to do so. So when you have these amazing employees and they have a life situation that they need to have you kind of work around, maybe they're in college, maybe they have a child they need to pick up from school. If it's in your ability to be flexible with them, have a plan in place on how you're going to make those opportunities available to them. You don't have to widely advertise them, but if you have a good employee and they just need you to kind of work with them, and you can, definitely do it. And also communicate to your team in a way so that they don't feel like it's favoritism, because it doesn't need to be a situation like that. You don't want a situation like that. However, you want to ensure that there is flexibility in place when it can be in place. Number 8, having inconsistent policies. Okay, if you are a business owner or if you're running an organization, it is super, uber important to have standard operating procedures in place. The more structure you have in place when it comes to certain things, the better it's going to be for you in the long run, because you're going to be able to clearly define what are the parameters that this company, this department, this organization, this team operates in. And when there is clarity, there is safety, because people know kind of where the boundaries are and what they are supposed to do. So having those SOPs in place, having job descriptions in place, things of that nature, you need to be very consistent in those things, because it's going to help improve everything that happens in your company. I've seen this with several individuals that I know, and here is one of the big things. A lot of us, me included, we're very good in the things that we are good at, and we're not so strong in those areas that we're not so good at. And so knowing what it takes to actually hire an employee, to maintain having an employee in place, and even all the way to termination. So from hiring, having them work in the business, as well as either terminating them or them deciding to leave, having a workflow in place for all of that is super important. And so having some knowledge of HR policies, procedures, and that kind of thing is actually going to benefit you as a business owner. And I'm so grateful for the time that I had working in corporate America, where I had a chance to work very closely with HR and to learn policies and procedures and things of that nature, because it made it so much easier for me as a leader years moving on, as well as a small business owner. And also when I have worked after having that experience in working in leadership in corporate America and in HR, I can see what other companies are not doing properly. And I'm like, if you're open to feedback, I can tell you what to do to fix X, Y, and Z. But if you're not open to feedback, I will zip my lips and just come to work and do my thing. Also, for some people, they know that they need to have some things in place, like they need to have paperwork in place for hiring employees and onboarding them and things of that nature. But they may not have an efficient system. They may have a system that is very inefficient and that is going to possibly lead to there being a potential of having errors in data or missing steps along the path. And we want to avoid that as much as possible, because that is not a good thing. And because sometimes, as they say, the devil can be in the details. And so we want to make sure that we have those processes in place to be able to effectively hire someone, have them working with us, And then if they decide to leave, or if we decide that we need to terminate them, being able to get them out as effectively and efficiently as possible and as well documented as possible. Also, as a business owner or as a leader, there needs to be a plan in place, especially for small business owners, for what are you going to do long-term when it comes to employee benefits? And again, I know a lot of business owners are brand new to business, and so they may not be in the place where they can do the employee benefits. Maybe you're having to hire some people from overseas in the meantime, and you don't really have to provide those benefits for them. But you could also have a situation where you are hiring maybe domestically, and because you're hiring domestically, there are certain things that need to be in place that have to be followed to accommodate the guidelines and the rules and regulations and laws of, that area. And so it's very important that you're very well versed in what you need to know about your industry, about people working for you, whether it's independent contractors, part-time workers, full-time workers. What are the requirements? What are the hours that are considered within that time frame? How's the pay rate supposed to be for that? You need to definitely know that, or at least be working with people who are well versed in that. And of course, for my videos, these are for educational purposes only. This is not legal or financial advice. Number 4, having a high turnover rate. Now, this is a big red flag. If there's a high turnover rate. I remember working somewhere where they had a 50% turnover rate. Turnover rate means that you're having lots of people leave. So a 50% turnover rate means that if they hired 10 people, at least 5 left by the end of the year, if they left or got fired, and that's not good. So normal attrition should be between 12 to 15%, whatever that number is. So if you had, we won't say 10 because that's going to be a little bit different. I guess it'll be like one and maybe a half person. That's not a thing, but maybe 1 to 2 people out of, if you hired 10 and a year later, maybe you should have 1 to 2 that leave, okay? But in that case, you want to make sure that you're paying attention, because employees will stay if they like you, if they like the work that they're doing, if they feel like they are being a benefit to the organization, especially if they're a good employee. I'm talking about good employees. Now, we know that there are some, I want to use the word, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to keep it up in my head. We know that there are some people that are less professional and less proficient and just really are not hardworking people, and we want to avoid hiring them to begin with. So if you want to know more about that, in the end, I'm going to pop a video on that can help you to know how to hire properly. Number 3, having limited training and development opportunities available. Now, again, when you hire properly, your good employees are going to want to go and grow, and they're going to want to do things better. And so you never want to stifle a good employee. When you have a person of excellence, they want to continue to grow. They may stay in the same position, but they want to know, how can they do it better? Just the other day, I was talking to one of the individuals I work with in one of the other companies I'm a partner with. And I'm like, hey, I want you to use, if you have like an extra hour, that you need to make your hours, go ahead and use that for professional development. Learn how to use your tools better. Learn how to do some things a little bit better, and just work on improving yourself, because what I know is that is going to A, benefit them, B, that's going to benefit the company, C, that's going to give them ideas on how to do things quicker, better, and faster, or just in a way that's more creative. And so I know I'm a lifelong learner, and for people who are hardworking and are people of excellence, a lot of them tend to be lifelong learners, so they want to continue to grow. And again, they may stay in the same position, but they still want to grow. They have brains that need to do exercises and like brain push-ups or whatever. So we want to make sure that we're giving them those opportunities, and that we're thinking ahead, so that we know, okay, as I get this wonderful team that I want to have in place, how can I make sure that they are happy by giving them opportunities to continue to grow and develop? Number 2, this one and the next one are super important. Number 2 is not having a performance management plan in place. This is hands down one of the most important things you need to do as a leader. Okay. Like, a lot of these on the list are important. Most of these on the list are important, but this is one of the ones you need to definitely have very early on. How are you going to determine if these people are successful? If there is somebody who you need to do some type of corrective action where maybe they are not performing to the level that you need them to, or you need to do some kind of correction, how are you going to document that? How are you going to go through the process for that? Also, if you have to terminate somebody, what are the steps that you want to go through as a company to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, so to speak, when it comes to terminating employees. And again, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I am very big on documentation, document. So it's not a surprise. Anytime I've had to terminate anybody, anytime I've had to do like a second correction, anything that had to be basically in like their review, they always knew before they got that review that, so it wasn't a surprise to them. It wasn't a surprise like, oh, I have to sign this document. Oh, I haven't been performing well. Like, I don't wait until 12 months after the person has been working for me and with me to tell them how they're doing. That's absolutely not the right thing to do. You want to make sure that you're letting them know how they're doing along the way, okay? But you have to have a system in place. So for me, I already have my system in place. I know by, every quarter, for a minimum, I want to make sure that I am giving them some kind of review update or something like that. But I also make sure that I check in with them pretty frequently to see how they're doing and just give them feedback as soon as possible, because that helps avoid a lot of confusion. Number one, lacking the resources and or the experience on how to recruit properly. That is a huge one. And I'm going to tell you, you will have less problems if you hire the right people the first time around. I'm telling you from my own personal experience. And if you've seen some of my other videos, I talk about the second team that I hired. I had some wrong hires on there, and they basically they caused a lot of problems, and they kept the team from moving to where the team needed to be. Once those individuals got off the team and I got the right people in place, team did phenomenal. Team scores were phenomenal. Team got recognition and awards and all these things. And that happened by me having the right people in place. And I learned, do not hire the wrong people. Like, even if like I need to put somebody temporarily in there and that that's not your favorite person, let them know it's a temp position. Don't let them, there's some other leadership stuff that's going in my head right now, but I'm not going to share it because there's certain things I put on the internet and other things are strategies that I just don't really put out there. I'll talk to people who work with me about them because they're strategies that if they fall into the wrong hands, people can misuse them. And I have a good heart as a person, so I like to share those strategies with people who I also know who have a good heart, not for people who are going to try to use them for nefarious reasons or for reasons that are going to cause problems or going to hurt people. And so I don't ever want that to be the case. But what about you? What do you think also is something that someone should consider before they hire an employee? I want you to add this in the list. Also, if you want to learn more about how to hire properly, I want you to watch this video next. And with that being said, make it a great day.